Hey yo, Logang, what's poppin'? Anyway, in today's video, we will be creating an emoji. We will add buttons to control it as well. It will look something like this. So if you want more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. We are at over 1,000 views right now and we are going pretty hard. Face reveal at 3 mil subs ?
Anyway,
Making an animation is actually pretty simple. We will be using HTML, CSS and JavaScript to make this project. There will be some JavaScript, nothing too complicated. We will deal with some DOM methods and a lot of our work will be in CSS. So let's get started. If you're using VS Code, try this out. In your body tags, type this equation out. This is Emmet, your new best friend. It's a way to code faster. I'll put a link in the description for a cheat sheet. But basically, this defines all the HTML we will be using. The app will have two major components, the face and the controls. Inside the face, we will have a container for 2 eyes and a mouth. The controls will have a title and a toggle button twice. If you type this equation out, it will generate all the HTML we need, and we can start working. Let's add some more data to our HTML. The first title tag will be for the eyes, and the second one will be for the mouth. The eyes have lids that we want to control with JavaScript, so let's give them an ID. I'm using lid 1 and lid 2 because I'm really bad at naming stuff. Let's also give the mouth an ID since that's also going to be controlled. Now, to add functionality to the buttons, we will be making a toggle function. That will happen when we come to JavaScript. We want to call the toggle function whenever the button is pressed. The toggle function will be pretty simple. It will take in 2 arguments. The first one is the object name and the second one is a CSS class. This is absolutely all the HTML we need, hopefully. I think at least. So coming to the CSS, this is where most our action is going to be. Starting with the body, let's get rid of the margins and make the font family Arial. Just to fool around, I'm making the background color a bit dark. The next thing we are going to be performing surgery on is the app. Let's make it occupy the entire screen. You can do that by setting the width and height to 100 VW and VH respectively. I also want everything to be at the center of the page, but it needs to be distributed with space between them and around them. So set the display property to flex, justify content to space evenly, align items to center and flex direction to column. That should be all for the app. The face is a little more complicated. We need to manually set where the eyes and mouth should be. To do that, start by setting the position to relative. Let's give it a background color of yellow. We also need the face to have equal width and height. They also need to scale with the size of the viewport, so set them both to 30 VW. This is a crucial step in making a circle. If you set the border radius to 50%, it will make an actual circle. I want the content of the face to be at the center but spaced around. Set the direction to flex, justify content to space around. This adds space between edges and the children divs. Align items to center and flex direction to column as well. Let's also make it pop out by giving it a box shadow. That looks amazing. So let's jump to the eyes. This is a container that holds the eye elements. It's not the eye itself. With that in mind, set its width to 100% and height to 50%. Just to show you where it is, I'm setting the background color to red. We want the eyes to be spaced evenly, so flex that display and justify content to space evenly. That looks about done. Now coming to the actual eye part, let's give it a width of 20% and height of 50%. The eyes on any emoji are black, so give this a black background color. Giving it a border radius of 50% will give it a proper oval shape. Our eyes have lids in them. We need them to be at the center of the eye for now. That will help us position them better later. So set the eyes position to relative and let's get on with the lids. Firstly, let's set the lids position to absolute and top to 0. We need the lids to have the same color as the face. Let's give it a width of 100% and height of 0 for now. Since we're going to animate the lids, let's give it a transition of 0.2 seconds. That will make the animation run smoothly. Giving it a border radius of 50% will add a curve to it as well. Now, coming to the mouth, set the position to absolute and top to 70%. This will put the mouth at the bottom of the red square. Let's give it a width of 70% and set its height to 0. When the mouth opens, we want the background color to be white. Also, let's give it a border of 0.5 EM solid and black. And since this is also going to be animated, let's set the transition to 0.1 seconds. I'm removing the red square for now, since we don't really need it anymore. Also, if you add a border radius to the mouth, it will look a little better and not square when it opens up. Now that we're done setting up the face, let's come to the animation. This is rather simple, and all we need to do is make the final states. Starting with the mouth, all you need to do is make a class called openMouth and set the height to 3 EM. The lids are going to grow in size. Let's call this class closeLid. In here, we need to set the height to 90%. Also, set the border bottom to 1 EM solid and black. I'm setting the border left and right to 1 EM solid black as well to get the lid grooves. Let's test things out. If you set the mouth's class to openMouth, it should open up. That is exactly what we want. Now, if you set the lid's class to closeLid, it should close up as well. If you notice, the border actually looks very bad. Let's set the left and right borders of the closeLid class to something smaller. I'm going to be using 0.1 EM. We're done with the face, but before we go to the controls, let's edit the class names we used in the toggle functions. Close becomes closeLid. Don't forget to change it in both the eye toggles. The close mouth is now openMouth as well. Finally, let's come to controls. This div will have a width of 50% and a height of 20%. The display that works best for us is grid. Set the grid template column values to 1FR and 2FR. We want the buttons to be wider than the title. Justify the content to space evenly and align items to center. This will ease our lives a lot. Let's also give it a darker background color. That warrants the color to be white as well. I want some gap between the rows, so set the grid row gap to 0.5 EM. The title is going to be simple. Give it a larger font size and center the stuff inside of it. The button is mostly the same, so I'm going to copy that from the title. I do want the font size to be a little less than the title. Also, let's give it a darker background color. Let's set the width and height to 100% as well. And lastly, set the cursor to pointer. We aren't done yet though. Since it's a button, we need a feedback, so let's add a hover property to it. In our case, doing that will be pretty simple. Just change the background color to something lighter. I'm starting to really not like this ugly background as well, so let's give it something less ugly. That is the last of our CSS. Let's come to the shortest segment of this video now. JavaScript. Make a script tag at the bottom of your body. This is where you write all your JavaScript. What you want to do first is call all the DOM elements we will be needing. That is, the two lids and the mouth. You can call them using the document.getElementById method. I'm storing them in relevant variable names. Don't be like my friend who names his variables different sizes of blah. That's a pretty bad idea. Once you're done with the calling part, let's start working on the toggle function. Write function toggle and put two arguments in there. I'm calling them A and B. A is going to be one of the DOM variables we created on line 145, 146, or 147. B will be one of the classes we created as the end state of the animation loops. All you have to do in this function is to add or remove classes from the DOM variables. And to do that, all you need is the toggle function. Write a.classlist.toggleB. This method will check the list of classes A has. It will see if B is in there or not. If B is in there, B will be removed, or else B will be added. With that, I'm concluding this video. If you followed along, try playing around with the CSS values and customize this project all you want. Leave a like on this video if you think you have what it takes to make my life less miserable, and subscribe if you want more of these videos. Face reveal at 100 subs, and maybe a gender reveal at 101 perhaps? Bye!